Hello booktube, hello book friends, welcome back to my channel and another tag video. It's Tuesday, so it must be Tag Tuesday. This is the second Tome Around tag, which was originally created by Julie at Bookish Travels, and I was tagged by Jenny Jaybles from the channel Jenny Jaybles. And this is I think it's a tag that's been around for a number of years, but has been kind of recently revived and I think updated. It's mostly about used books, and there are 7 prompts and a tag other people prompt. So let's get stuck in. So the prompts. Prompt number 1: a book you bought for its cover. Well, I think I've often picked up books in bookshops because they have particular covers. I don't often buy a book just because it's got a good cover. It might be something that draws me in, and then I buy the book after kind of reading the blurb or whatever. I did recently buy. I say recently. I think this was, don't know quite when this was, end of last year. The 10th, these are the 10th anniversary editions of a particular book series, and it's the Southern Reach series by Jeff Vandermeer, which, if you know about it, it's a fairly weird, I won't want to call it sci-fi or anything like that. It's just a very weird series, and as I say, 10th anniversary had new paperback editions released for the first 3 volumes, and they have really quite spectacular artwork on the cover. It's probably not coming out very clearly on the camera because they're kind of shiny and it's kind of a mix of kind of shiny and matte finish. But anyway, I bought those recently. However, given that this is supposed to be about second-hand books, what else have I got that's second-hand that I bought recently? I did recently, again, probably the end of last year, bought for Novelisation November a copy of the original Battlestar Galactica TV series. So this is the original series that was, I think it was in the 1980s. So I watched it when I was still at school, and this is the novelisation. So it's got the photos from the TV series in the middle. And I did specifically buy this for this cover because this is the cover. We had a copy of this in our school library, and I don't know whether they tracked whoever borrowed books in the school library. If they did, they would have probably seen that I had this out multiple times to read when I was at school, and I bought it because I basically wanted that particular cover. So yeah, I do occasionally buy books for their cover, but I think often they're the things. The cover is what draws you in, and then you read the blurb, and that's when you don't solely buy a book on its cover. Show us an unexpected find. Prompt number 2. I was recently in our local book exchange box. I was taking a book, dropping a couple of books off, and I try, if I can, to drop off more books than I pick up. Doesn't always work that way, but I did come across a copy of Susanna Clarke's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I've never read, and I've heard great things about. Sometimes I find things in there that are completely unexpected. I've found odd, like novelizations of different films and things. So yeah, that was an unexpected find. I never know what I'm going to find in that box, but yeah, that was unexpected. Problem number 3, you have a book you enjoy, you bought new, but then you find a used book that has a better cover. Do you get rid of the original? Do you get the second one, or do you keep both? Oh, I think it would very much depend on what the book was and who the author was. So sometimes I've got, for example, I collect Alistair MacLean's, as you probably know if you've watched previous videos of mine. Sometimes I come across copies of different copies of books that he's written with different covers, or a hardback instead of a paperback. And I tend to keep both because if one's a hardback and one's a paperback, I might just use one as a reading copy and keep the other one on my shelf. But sometimes I will keep the one I prefer and then pass on the second one, either take it to the book exchange box or give it to a friend or whatever. So yeah, all of the above, I think. The exception to that, which I will talk about for problem number 6, there is an exception to that. Is there a book series? Sorry, this is problem number 4. Is there a book series that you have challenged yourself to collect purely from used book charity shops? I wouldn't say I've challenged myself for this series, but I have been reading and am collecting all of the re-released Inspector Maigret novels by Georges Simenon, which came out in this Penguin edition a few years ago. I was quite late to the party on this because my wife bought me, I think it was Maigret at Christmas, for a Christmas present, and that got me into reading them. And I didn't realise that Penguin were republishing them and had been for a while. And I think they were publishing like 2 a month, and they're about £8.99 new. I think had I realised a bit earlier and read the first Maigret earlier, I probably would have got my local bookshop to get me a copy of each one as it was published. So for like 18 quid a month, I could probably have afforded that. But I was quite late to the party, so I'm trying to collect them in this edition. And now, because they've completed the run, they're only you can either buy whatever ones are left out there in the bookshops as new, or buy them second hand. And the problem I've got is there are 70 something of these at £8.99 a go. The maths doesn't work out quite as if you were buying them month to month, when so to get the missing ones, and I've probably got about, I don't know, I've probably got about half of them now. To get all the missing ones, that's still, what's that? If I were to buy them new, say there's 30, you're talking about well over £200. So yeah, that isn't going to happen. So I'm buying them secondhand where they are. They're still running quite expensive, to be fair. They're still like 5 or 6 quid in very good condition. So yeah, I'm trying to get them secondhand as I see them, or as I've got like a stack that I haven't read. So as the stack that I haven't read gets smaller, that's when I kind of think, right, I'll buy some more. And I'm guessing I probably need to do that relatively quickly. But anyway, yeah. So the Maigret novels I'm trying to buy second hand. Show us books you have bought purely for nostalgia reasons. This is another kind of childhood thing. When I was a kid, one of the kind of books that I used to read a lot of were Hardy Boys novels. So the the detective stories of the two kind of teenage kids who were detectives. And recently I found a little box set which was released probably as part of the TV series. So it's got what's it got in there? Six novels, and these are all in relatively good condition. See, these were 85p originally. I can't remember how much I paid. I just paid a little bit more than 6 times 85. But yeah, so and these always had fantastic covers. Like um, so yeah, I bought these purely for nostalgia reasons. I have got a few others up on the shelves, but yeah, this book, because this is number one. So yeah, that was a pure nostalgia buy. I don't think these or most of these have ever actually been read. So yeah, really quite guilty pleasure that was. Uh, Number 6. When you buy a used book but you find out there are a lot of scribbles in it, do you get annoyed? Also, how do you feel when you open a book and there's a note saying something like, "Happy birthday, dear. I hope you enjoy this book." Now, this relates a bit to when you get a better cover for a book, do you keep it? And my exception would be I, particularly non-fiction, don't do it so much with fiction, but non-fiction. I will very often scribble notes in the margin or keep notes like on if there's a blank page in the back of the book. Um, that's the exception. I wouldn't get rid of those. I would keep those. And I don't mind getting books that have got other people's notes in. I quite enjoy sometimes looking at what people have had to say and so on. And I also like give secondhand books that have been given to someone. So when it's to dad on on the occasion of your 50th birthday or whatever it is. And I like when people give me books. I always say, "Oh, please, write something in the front so that I can remember, like who it's from and so on." So no, that I don't mind that at all. I quite like getting books that have got people's scribbles in. When you enjoy a used book, do you keep it, exchange it for a nice pristine new version, or give it back to the charity shop stroke used bookstore? Probably all of the above. I think if I enjoy a book, I will probably keep it. If it's a book that I know I'm going to reread or think I might reread, then I will keep it. I don't know whether I'm just trying to think if I've ever bought a new. I have occasionally bought a second copy where the original copy's like falling apart because it's so well read, and that's very often second-hand copy. You read it and it deteriorates further. And I will often, I mean, I've got books that I've read recently that I know I don't want to keep, and they're going to go back to the book exchange box in due course. So yeah, I think all of the above. Very much depends on the book. So yeah, if it's a book I've enjoyed and I will likely reread it, then I will probably keep it. If it's not a book that I think I'm going to reread, it will go back. Partly because I haven't got a huge amount of space, and the books I haven't read are kind of taking over. So that's it. I will have a look. Jenny tagged loads of people in her video, so I'm going to have a quick look and see if there's anybody that I can tag who hasn't already been tagged. But if you fancy doing this, and you feel free, go for it. It's quite enjoyed thinking about this one. So it's been quite fun. So yeah, thank you to Jenny for tagging me. Thank you to Julie for coming up with the tag originally. And thank you to you guys for watching. And I will speak to you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.